Hi, I'm Chanel, welcome to Spirited Stardust, and this is the mid-month Bookie Wookie wrap-up. Now, unfortunately, I had 2 sick kids this month, so I did not get much read so far. I have read 3 books and a children's book, so 4's better than none. I'll start by reading the fiction books, rating, reviewing, and then I'll move on to non-fiction, and then I'll do the kids book last, and after that I'm going to do a spoiler section where I can really dig into the meaty stuff and tell you what my thoughts are about particular things. So if you're cool with spoilers or you've already read the book and you want to hear my detailed reaction to it, feel free to watch that part. If not, you can finish it after Kiddo's Corner, whenever you like, really. But we will get started with The Daughters of Iz. For every enchantment there is a price. I'll read the blurb. Iz, city of wealth and wonder, has a history of dark secrets. Queen Melvin used magic to raise the great walls that keep Iz safe from the tumultuous sea. But after the queen's inexplicable death, her daughters drift apart. Rosin, the queen, the heir to the throne, spends her time on the moors communing with wild animals, while Dahut, the youngest, enjoys the splendours of royal life and is eager to take part in palace intrigue. When Rosin and Dahut's bond is irrevocably changed, the fate of Iz is sealed, exposing the monsters that lurk in plain view. M.T. Anderson and Joe Rio reimagine the classic Breton folk tale of love, loss and rebirth, revealing the secrets that lie beneath the surface. So this is based on a Breton folk tale. I don't know the tale, so therefore I don't really know how much is their work, how much is part of the tale. This is a graphic novel. I would say that the tone or aesthetic is quite somber. It's quite gloomy. It's not a bright, uplifting sort of tone. There are adult themes in this book. And yeah, for me personally though, I haven't read a graphic novel book since I was a teenager, and the last series I read was Neil Gaiman's Sandman. For me, this felt more like a comic than a graphic novel based on the very sparse dialogue. There wasn't a lot of dialogue in this, and because of that, I felt like you don't really get to know the characters deeply. It's a bit lacking. It's a bit, there's not a lot of substance in that respect. It sort of just skims the surface, like a skipping stone. That's how I would describe this book. It is like a skipping stone, just touching upon the surface very briefly. It's also a skipping timeline book. So you have the parents meeting in a sort of marriage of circumstance, and then they've got kids, and then bam, mum's dead, and then bam, kids have grown up, and you're just like, okay. There are a few little nuggets here and there, like this one. How can you kill him every day? We live by devouring those we love. How can we help it? They're the ones within closest reach. So there's a few little wisdom bits and pieces in there. Nice dialogue, but it's very brief. There is a timeline jumping, so if you're not a fan of that, you won't be a fan of this. You don't really get a clear depiction of the relationship between the husband and late wife at all, so you don't know what their marriage was like, and you don't really know what the sisters, what their relationship's like. It's a bit like that way. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. In terms of the story itself, there are so many unanswered questions. I don't know if it's because of the original folk tale, it's just very vague and ambiguous, but there was just a bit too many things that I didn't understand, and I didn't know, like, what's with that? Can you explain that? No? Okay. So that was a bit of a letdown. In terms of the rift between the sisters, that was okay. You can understand the resentment, like, Dahut, the youngest, has towards Rosin, who's just shirked her duties and fled to the forest, and now everything's on her to run the kingdom and fill the void that the mother left. So I get that. The ending, I'm like, what? Okay, wasn't too pleased, I guess, with how it ended. But I enjoyed it. I read it in a day. It's a light read. I liked the illustrations. I liked the general story. I think it could be really fleshed out into a great novel. But as this is, like, it was just left a little bit too much unanswered for me. So I'm giving it 3.5. It was a great foray back into the graphic novel world, and I'm definitely going to check out some more. Next up we have Scythe by Neil Schusterman. Thou shalt kill. What if death was the only thing left to control? In a perfect world, the only way to die is to be gleaned by professional Scythe. When Citra and Rowan are chosen to be apprentice Scythes, they know they have no option but to learn the art of killing. However, the terrifying responsibility of choosing their victims is just the start. Corruption is the order of the day, and Citra and Rowan need to stick together to fight it. Then they are told that one of them will have to glean the other. Wow. So, in this futuristic utopian world, the Thunderhead rules everything, which is basically the Cloud on steroids. So he's decided, humans weren't doing a great job, I'm going to step in and run the place. But I'm not going to kill people, so I'll pick some humans to like do that and let them run themselves, let them govern themselves. So I'll start by saying, in this world, it's supposed to be no poverty, but there is a wealth discrepancy. I'll touch on that in the spoiler section. So people still work like as retail clerks, and there's still people that are super mega wealthy. So I would say that the sort of life satisfaction isn't equal amongst everybody. But anyway, they all have nanites. So basically you're pretty much immortal. You can be revived if you accidentally die at a resurrection center. You're healed instantly. You don't feel pain. You know, the only loss you feel, I guess, is when someone you loved has been gleaned, which is killed, or you are about to be gleaned. You feel a lot of emotions then. You run the gamut. If you resist your gleaning, your entire family will be culled. So that's how they get around people trying to run away and not accept the death. The death choosing is up to the Scythe. So the Order of the Scythe are humans. They are the law. They're above the law. They're exempt from everything. The Thunderhead doesn't intervene with them, so they run themselves. And as you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So it's rotten on the inside. They get to choose who dies, how they die, which is also something I had a big issue with. In a perfect world, the poor people that have to pay the price for society by dying, shouldn't they just all have the option of having the painless pill, which is a pill that you take and you die instantaneously, no pain? No, the Scythe gets to choose how you die. Some of these Scythes like slicing and dicing, some like drowning. So already you've been told like, oh, you have to die for society. You don't get to live for an eternity like most of us will. We're going to drown you. We're going to make your last moments drawn out and painful and horrible. I don't understand that whatsoever. I also have a big issue with the fact that they can choose who they kill, which means children. Children sometimes get killed. In a society where people can live to eternity, why wouldn't you have it so that everyone over the age of 100 is in the pool for culling? And everyone who's under 100 doesn't get gleaned. They're immune. I don't think it's fair at all that a 5-year-old who's only been in the world for 5 years has to die. It doesn't make sense to me. Also, the whole thing for Scythes is population control. So instead of people having 20 plus children, because they can live forever, they just keep reproducing. They don't physically age really past the age of 30. So they just keep having kids. Why not have the nanites cap everybody at 4? So if you're a male and you've sired 4 children and they're in your database as your lineage, that's it. You're shooting duds after that. And same for women. You close down for a production after four children, mothering 4 children. So I don't get that either. And between Rowan and Citra, there's supposed to be a romance. What romance? Like, what romance? There was nothing there. There was no relationship building. I didn't feel any relationship building in this, let alone a romance. Is it just because they're a man and a female and they're like, oh, we're male and female, so let's just fall in love? I didn't feel anything there, so I didn't get their romantic angle. And for some reason, I didn't bond to any of the characters. So none of the characters really stood out to me. Madame Curie, I can't mention this here, I have to mention in the spoiler section, but her method of gleaning, I was like, what? She's meant to be like heralded as a bit of a saint. I'm like, no, gold standard, no. So for me, there were a few issues that I like to suspend logic when reading fantasy, but there were too many things for this, and I'm like, why would it be this way? Why would it be that way? It doesn't make sense. So I'm giving this 3.5 stars. I read it in a day. It was a great read. It's an interesting premise. I didn't connect to the characters, and there were too many qualms that I had, so that's why it's a 3.5. But that was Scythe. Okay, on to the non-fiction. I read The Book of Tarot, Modern Guide to Reading the Tarot by Danielle Noel. Unlock the magic of the tarot, set goals and intentions with clarity, and learn how to handle your deck with confidence as a tool for self-discovery. This is not a guide to tarot. Okay, so the bits about the tarot go to like here. And then it's all about her tarot deck, the Star Child Tarot, sorry. This is basically just a giant guidebook for her tarot. So if you want that, if you have this tarot deck and you want a giant guidebook, get this. But if you actually want to learn tarot, this is not a guidebook to tarot. It doesn't, it's almost nothing there. I can't read it because it's just not what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to learn all about the tarot, and I just learned all about her deck. So I'm still going to have to find a tarot book. Now onto Kiddo's Corner. We've got Oris Stars by Christina Litton. I chose this based on the cover. I did a typical, oh, you're pretty, so you can come home with me. Luckily, there's some substance too. So far out in the depths of space lives Ori. Tired of living alone in the darkness, Ori makes an exciting discovery and soon learns she isn't as lonely as she first thought. An outstanding tale of the power of friendship to shine through the darkest of nights from the creator of Ziggy and the Moonlight Show, Norton and Alpha. I thought this was darling. It's about a little being in space who one day discovers they can create light and stars, I guess it would be. And those stars and lights attract other beings that are like similar to them. And they all form a friendship. And then they all decide, what if there's others like us that are out in the darkness also thinking they're alone? Let's all go into the farthest corners of the universe and create stars and light and little galaxies. And so those other people that are lost in the darkness can find us, and we can find each other, and we can realize that we're all together. I think it's a darling, darling book. I really enjoyed it. I'll check out more of her books because I thought it was beautiful. So that is the non-spoilery section. If you would like to continue on to the spoiler section, buckle your seatbelts. Here we go. If not, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time. We're going to start with the Daughters of Iz. Okay, first off, the relationship between the mum and the dad. Don't know anything about it. What kind of relationship they had? What was it? Was it a power control issue? Was she being used for a magic? How did she die? How did she die? The kids think that the father caused her to use too much of her magic, and so she basically just like became a husk, just withered herself from the inside out from using too much magic. Is that how it happened? Is that why she aged rapidly and just died? And what was she? Is she Fae? I don't know. Where does magic come from? I don't know. So, too many unanswered questions with that. Then, like that, the dad's total dud person. Did not like him, obviously. The rift between the kids happens because after seeing the dad in the orgy, Dahut loses her temper and she hurts a little birdie. Birdie's okay, but she hurts it, and Rosan's like, nah, I can't forgive that, bruh. I'm out, peace out, I'm going to go live in the forest, run barefoot and frolic around with all the creatures. And then Dahut, the youngest, is left to shoulder the entire kingdom. As in, she has to run everything, she has to fill the void her mother left, she has to use the magic. And as we know, with that magic comes the price of having to sleep with men, okay, only one time, and then put a mask on the men that chops off their heads and kills them. And then these headless bastards roll in the ocean just like, whipping killed, haunting her. So a horrible deal that she's gotten. You still don't know really a lot about the pact, a lot about who's providing the magic. You don't know. Then one day, Rosin meets a bland fisherman and decides, oh, I'm going to fall in love with you, even though you're a nothing of a character. And then Dahut's like, oh, I don't think this guy's a good guy. I'm going to show my sister that by seducing and sleeping with him. Bland man didn't even put up a fight. I won't even call it seduce. She's just basically like, hey, you want to like bang? And he's like, oh, yeah. Oh, hang on. What about Rosen? Oh, she'll be right, mate. All right, let's go do it. So she does that. Rosen comes. Dahut's like, you should thank me, sister. I've just shown you that this man is loyalless, just, disloyal and a piece of crap, and you're welcome. But Rosin's like, oh, piss off both of you. And then she runs back off to the forest, but then Dahut can't bring herself to kill the bland fisherman. So weird smarmy man. I don't know if he's he comes along. So where is he? Where's the smarmy dude? Oh no, that's when he turns ugly. Let's not show that. This dude, this smoking dude, comes along and is like, you didn't pay the tithe, and now I am going to Sodom and Gomorrah your town and drown everybody. I'm just going to totally drown the entire city. And she's like, no, you can't. So she tries to fight against him. She needs her sister's help. She's like, Rosalind, help me. He's going to kill everybody. Still don't know what he is really. I don't even get what he is. They don't save the day. They end up getting the dad out while they're escaping. Poor DeHoot's just punted off the back of the horse into the ocean to drown. And they're like, oh, well, that's what you get, I guess, for messing with magic. It should be the dad. Okay, so this poor woman who's had to take on all this responsibility, who was abandoned by her sister, her mother died, her father didn't, put all this responsibility on her, you need to do the magic, you need to keep the city safe, didn't care about her. I don't think that's a great way to go for DeHoot. I feel like it was totally unjust, and I'm pretty peeved with that. Anyway, so Rosin takes the useless dad to the town they were from originally. He dies, she becomes queen, she becomes a great queen. Bland Fisherman returns, and he's like, hey, so your sister totally was to blame for all of that, totally seduced me, so how about you and I get married now and bone? And thank God, she's like, be gone with you, you white loaf of bread peasant. I'm a queen. I don't fucking need you. Sorry for cursing. Thank God. Otherwise, if she had gone back with him, I would have punted the book across the room. So, and then she's just queen. So, like I said, many unanswered questions. What? What? And a bit of a, justice for DeHoot, bro. There's no justice for DeHoot. So, that's why I go 3.5 stars. But like I said, I don't know if it's the authors or if it's the original folktale. Could be that's just the way the original folktale is, but I don't know. Anyway, Sky. So, like I already touched briefly, in a perfect world, why would you be raping children? Why would you be raping anybody under the age of 100? Why would you not be putting a cap on the amount of children that they could produce? Why is there still such a wealth discrepancy? How has this perfect AI with infinite knowledge not made it so that wealth is distributed evenly? How, I get it, they might be like, well, people still need to be janitors. Can you not find a way so that no one has to be a janitor? No one has to be a retail person? Why are some people still living and having to do jobs that they probably are not, if you find joy in being a shop clerk, fantastic. Do you want to do that for all of eternity? Probably not. If you could live in a house with a pool and a tennis court and cleaners and maids and, once again, someone is cleaning someone's toilets, why would you not want that like that? I don't get how that all works. Why there's still such a divide there. Why would you also just allow humans to be in charge of deciding who dies and just leave them to run themselves, which a completely lawless division? It makes no sense. Naturally, they're going to become corrupt. These people are literally chopping people up, beating people to death with their hands, choosing children, doing petty choices oh, you annoyed me, I'm just going to kill you because you annoyed me. You try to suck up to me, you're dead. No. Just so unjust. So unjust. So that bothered me immensely. And then also the two characters were just so I just didn't feel anything. There was no romance, like I said. I didn't feel anything towards anybody for whatever reason. I just didn't bond to anybody. I don't know if it was the way it was written or the pacing. I'm not sure. They were barely together. They were just for a very brief moment of time, apprentices for a few months, and then they were separate. So the whole thing about they need to stick together to fight it, they didn't. They did this totally separate things. I'm totally cool with Rowan becoming, Scythe Lucifer, but then how is he determining who's corrupt and needs to burn to death? Once again, it's just up to his own discernment. What parameters is he using for that? So there's a bit too much come on, Thunderhead. I think you need to intervene. Right, you need to intervene in this. You need to do something. And also, okay, Madame Curie. Not Madame Curie, that's who she's based on. Scythe Curie. Her way of just shanking people completely unawares, that is a horrible way to go. One, painful and horrible, like the shock of death. Two, they don't get to say their goodbyes. I believe that in this world, what would be just, if you have to sacrifice yourself for the good of humanity, you should at the very least have a nice last day. So they should, like, anything you want on your last day, you get to experience. Obviously, because, you know, if they try and run away, they'll kill the whole family. Okay, if they're going to kill the whole family too, children should be exempt. No one under the age of 50 should be killed in the family because someone, you know, Uncle Jack was a bit of a coward. That shouldn't be done. Okay, anybody under 50 in the family doesn't pay the price. Anybody over 50, okay. But you should get a great last day. Even prisoners here get to choose their last meal at least. You should get to say your goodbyes. You should get to really live your last day on Earth if you're going to be dead for all eternity after this. Like, why is that not the case? So that was another issue. And yeah, like I said, like the lack of caring about any of the people in it. But the premise was cool. And I liked the idea, and yeah, I still enjoyed reading it. It's 3.5 stars. So that's my expanded spoiler version of the books. I hope you have a lovely day, and as always, stay well, Star Child.